Good morning. Thank you
Good
so much
morning.
for joining us, Darien. We're so excited to have you here. You really are a wellness pro because you are well-rounded in your experience and you're a yoga teacher. You went through the 20-hour program and you own a yoga studio, so you are also a business mentor and a personal mentor through your own experience and journey through that. And so, would you like to share a little bit more about yourself and how you ended up there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, so I'm Darien Pruitt. I'm the owner of the Zen Den of Gilbert in Gilbert, Arizona. So besides that, to your point, I'm a wellness pro and a mentor. So how I got there was I was in corporate America for many, many, many years. I climbed my way to the top for 20 years in the same industry till I got there. I was a senior sales director in construction for an electrical distributor. Say that three times fast. So it was a very like heavy corporate position. So I was the only woman in my position. We were a record branch because we're in Arizona and construction here is crazy. So I got there and 2020, right? So 2020, I think put a lot of perspective on different things for everybody. So in 2020, I quit drinking. I was diagnosed with pancreatitis. So my doctor was like, yeah, you just got to quit drinking. You'll be fine. And I was like, what do you mean? Don't you have like a pill or something? So I
Yeah.
just had to quit drinking. And obviously that was tough because it was 2020. And then my mom was diagnosed with cancer. So like 2020 just did a number on everybody, obviously. So shortly after that, I've always practiced yoga. But once I quit drinking, I really kind of like dove headfirst into the community. And I feel like when we quit drinking, that's what we really need as community. We need people around us that know that they're not alone, we're not alone, all of those things. So I kind of dove headfirst into yoga. And then I woke up one day, we were on a vacation at Zion National Park, and I just kind of woke up and I looked at my husband. I was like, I want to teach yoga. And he was like, okay. So had a really great career and I was making a lot of money. And then I just kind of decided, another not great thing. I lost a really good friend of mine at the beginning of 22. She passed away super tragically and suddenly. And like one of the last conversations I had with her was, I was like, I just wish I could do Savvy and teach yoga full time. And she was like, well, why don't you just do it? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why not. So after she passed, I felt like everything was kind of coming to a head. So I took a month off of work just to kind of like reassess my life. And then I went back and I gave my notice and I signed up for yoga teacher training right away. And then graduated in December of 2022 and launched the Mobile Yogi. So my vision was to take yoga, mindfulness, meditation, self-love, all of those things into the corporate world. So I did some of that, but it kept coming back to like, where do we find you next, right? Like, where are you going to be next? So a seed was planted and the Zen Den of Gilbert was born. So we just opened technically in January. So we're a brand new baby studio, but we're more than just a yoga studio. We like to pride ourselves as a women's wellness center. So it's that place where you can find your community. We have a mentorship program called Club Shine. So it's for women who, have been raising babies and their careers and their significant others that are looking for a place where they can work on themselves. Because we spend so much time doing all those things that we kind of forget who we are, right? So finding that joy again, especially, in my situation where I drank for so many years, that was my fun. So when that was gone, it was like, how do I even have fun anymore? So, to join Club Shine, you don't have to be gray area drinker, non-drinker. It's just to help you focus on the things that you want to bring back into your life. So that joy, that sisterhood, all of those things. So we have Club Shine. We also offer Reiki in the studio. So we have two private Reiki practitioners. So yeah, it's just beautiful, like how everything's kind of come together. So we love to have community events. So we have free events where it's just like all these women coming together and some really beautiful connections have been made at these events and just all the things that we have at the studio. So I'm super proud of it.
I wish I was closer because I want to go. This sounds amazing, and I I really appreciate you telling the full story. I mean, obviously there's a much larger story, but more into your story because people are better able to relate to that of, wow, I also have this thought about, well, why I wish I could just do these things, but I let my beliefs hold me back from doing the things that I really want to pursue in this life. And this is an example where you're like, oh, yeah, I don't know why I don't just do the thing that I want to do. And not to say that it's easy, right? It's
No,
not.
it's not easy, and it's scary, but the return is so satisfying, right? So like just my cup is filled every day. It's like, and my old company didn't treat me bad. That there was none of that. Like I was treated really well, actually. It was a hard decision, but this just fills my cup so much more. And to your point is like helping people find those things that, might be holding them back, the self-limiting beliefs to tell them that they can really do it.
It's a good thing that people are doing this now, because it's been scary for me to try to do this. Like all those thoughts, like I can't do, like, who am I to do this? Like you have to step out of that comfort zone and the safety of what like the security of a paycheck, especially if it's a good one and you have a family. But I noticed that I was not getting that fulfillment out of my job either. And just I felt like that, and I was using alcohol to try to distract myself from the fact that I wasn't happy with that. And then it's scary to do all this, but if people like us don't do it, like there's so many people that need to find what we found now, and they don't even know where to start, or they don't even know what's missing. And so like it's almost like I feel everybody that I meet in this space is like this little silent movement happening. Like people are changing and they're affecting people near them, and they're changing and their lives are changing for the better.
100%. And that's what I tell people is like, you guys are trailblazers. Like you're breaking generational curses. Like, when we think about like our mothers, like, did your mom like go for walks or go to yoga or hang out with her friends or drink water? Probably not. And it's not their fault. That's just what they knew. So here we are, practicing our self-care, dropping the mommy guilt, doing things for ourselves, connecting with other people, and just knowing that we're not alone, instead of like just sitting silently and be like, well, this is just how life is. We're showing our kids that there's more to it. Like we can really have whatever we want, and without feeling guilty or like stifling ourselves. Because I feel like generations before were, you find a job, stay there forever, or you retire, you have a pension, instead of like, no, that's not really what I want to do. So it's so fun to be in this space now of like I said, the trailblazers, the ones that are changing that. We're not doing that anymore. And I'm never like, and I don't tell people everybody quit your job. No, like if you love your job, cool. Let's find a way that you can find some joy in it. Or if it's a stepping stone onto the next thing, let's find a way that you can find some joy in what you have to do to get to what you want to do, because not everybody can just quit their jobs tomorrow and go teach yoga.
I never realized how, like, for so long I was trying to achieve what I thought was, and so much of it is that conditioning that we're just generation by generation by generation. Like you said, our parents like were given that same thing. So like I didn't see my mom striving for anything. Like that's probably why I didn't think it was even possible. But I'm like looking for this goal of the white picket fence and the happily ever after, and then then part of me was always like, then what? Like, that's it? Really? I think that's part of why I was like, I'm getting closer to that. And that sounds miserable. Like, not that families and all of that are miserable, but just like having nothing else, like, there's got to be more. So even if you do love your job, even if you're a stay-at-home mom and you love that, that doesn't mean that's it. There's got to be other things to fill your life up with, because we tend to, that's what I see happen to so many women. They get so attached either to their career or their family as the mother. And then when their kids grow up, they're like, now what? They've lost their identity. And or
Yeah,
they
and when you're in
retire.
it, like, and when you're in it, like when you're raising little kids, you're in it. I mean, you're in the thick of it. Like I talk to so many women. We do different events and like we go out in the community and do things. And like I'll talk to them and I'll be like, come check out the studio. And they're standing there with their 3 and 5-year-old. They're like, how? They're looking at me like how? And I'm like, you have to make the time for yourself. So we become martyrs of our own lives because we're like, I mean, I'm not saying we create it, right? But I'm pretty sure you can find an hour in your week to go do something for yourself. Like you have to, or you're gonna burn out, or you're gonna be resentful, or you're gonna turn to alcohol or some other substance, something else to numb because that's your only escape.
It's the stories that we tell ourselves, right? That we
Totally.
can't do
Like,
that.
or that mommy guilt. Like that's the thing that nobody talks about. It's another like taboo subject is mommy guilt. Like, you know, you're probably going to feel guilty the first time you take that hour for yourself, but your cup's going to be full. You're going to be more present. You're going to feel better when you come back because you're feeling good as opposed to just grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. And then going to ladies night and, getting hammered and feeling like shit all day the next day. So it's like, you got to find that balance before it's too late.
And that's what's really important too, is paying attention how these things make us feel, right? You know, because we talk about this in our career a lot, or what we do, of paying attention to how alcohol makes us feel, right? Of like, yeah, at first, for the first 20 minutes, feel everything starts, it feels, nice and muted and warm, and then like that anxiety starts to build up again, and you're like, I want another glass. And then, you play the tape forward, and you're like, by the next day, you're like, I feel terrible, physically, mentally. I screamed at my kids, whatever. So you can do that and apply it to the same practice of, okay, when you go to yoga, when you make that hour time for yourself, how do you show up differently in your life? Like, play the tape forward. How do you show up differently with your family, to work, and all the other things when you're giving yourself that hour? Because it's also taking ownership, right? There's a radical ownership here, or responsibility, of saying, like, I am going to control my schedule. I'm not going to let it control me, and saying, I get to decide what I make time for because that's what's important to me, right?
Well, and that's again, that I feel like that goes back to like just that's not what we were taught. That's not what we know. So it's just helping get that awareness out and helping people open their eyes and notice like, oh, there's another way. Like it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. To your point, we can take control of our schedules and what is important to us and what's going to make us feel good, even if it's not yoga. Like even if it's it doesn't even have to be something physical. It doesn't have to be like the gym. Go to like paint or make some bracelets or go walk around Ross or Target, or you know what I mean? Just whatever it is that fills your cup. But do something mindful. Spend a couple minutes. So I also do presentations about mindfulness for corporate America. So I did one last week for a mortgage company, and we just talked about practical things that you can do, right? It doesn't have to be rolling out your mat in the middle of the day and doing a full-blown meditation and yoga practice, right? It could be taking a couple breaths before you walk into your house. Like you come home and you're like, it's going to be chaos when you walk in the door, right? So taking those couple breaths before you walk in the door in silence so that you're ready. Like you're not already super heightened from your crazy busy day. You can walk in and you can go, hey, you know, setting boundaries for yourself of when I walk in, I want 5 minutes. I just want 5 minutes. The family knows, everybody knows I get 5 minutes, and then we move on to whatever the case may be. Going outside and just getting sunshine on your face for 5 minutes. Off of your phone, right? Eating in silence without your phone. there's just so many different things that you can do to help you practice mindfulness throughout your day. So even if you can't take that hour today, right, you can find all these different opportunities to take some time. But to your point, you got to take ownership of it and say, I'm going to do this. Even if you have babies at home, you can do this. Like, you can take 5 minutes for yourself. And if your partner's not supportive, that's a whole other conversation.
The time thing is something that was also modeled for me in the way that, my dad was a single father, so he worked and then he was so tired, and his way of handling that was to drink. And so, but I just remember him always feeling like not enough time, never enough time to do all the things. And then I didn't put it together until I started seeing it in my own life. Like, now I have so much time. Like, it's not like anything. I still have work and kids, and all these things are still present in my life, but I didn't realize how much time I was spending on the drinking, the thinking about the drinking, the recovering from the drinking, the planning around the drinking, like the guilt I was giving and the anxiety around it. All of that was stealing time that I didn't notice when I was in it. And so, so it's like this vicious cycle, like thinking I don't have enough time made me want to drink. And then the drinking was stealing more time. And it was like, and we get so caught up in all of that, that we're not present in our life. We are not, so we don't even see, we don't take time to see what we're missing out on. It, even just those little things you were mentioning, taking 5 minutes, like that's where your brain will tell you that's not going to do any good if you're like me. But if you try it and just do it consistently enough, you will notice the difference. And it's just little by little, and then building on that. Like, I can't even, I was that person who was like, thought this was all woo woo nonsense. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, and I get a lot of that too, but it's backed by science. Like, breathing is backed by science. And you don't have to be, chanting, or just take a couple breaths. Like, that's it. Just see how your body responds. Like, just try it. Try to silence your mind for a couple of minutes. We're so inundated with information and things coming at us all the time that it's hard to see past that. So it's just taking, and then what happens once you do start taking those moments and finding those moments of peace and calm and quiet, you realize that, like, all that other stuff is not that big of a deal. Like, you know, um, yes, your job is important and it pays bills, but maybe the way Karen looked at you today is not that big of a deal. Like, there's bigger things to life. So it really does help you come back to our roots of, like, where we began before all of the social media and being inundated by information. And really does help you come back to, like, a more peaceful space.
And so, Darren, would you say when you dove into the yoga community, it was really a combination of all of these things, right? It was a combination of practicing mindfulness. It was using your breath. It was moving your body in a way that is um it's not a natural stance, right? It's testing your body and strengthening, and it's using flexibility, right? So that wires our brain differently. Can you talk about how specifically yoga and maybe the community aspect of it did transform your life and how you see it transforming lives of others?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, when I first was taking yoga, I was doing the hot vinyasa, like the hardcore, heavy, athletic yoga. But what I teach now is more of a meditative type slow flow. So I found that everything has its place. I still love that athletic, hot, sweaty vinyasa yoga, but I really enjoy teaching the slow meditative type, because it helps you get out of your head, helps you get out of your head. Again, kind of lifts that veil of what's really important when you're able to just stop and breathe and slow down. I even teach a couple of classes where we don't even stand up. Like, we literally stay close to the ground, where you're just stretching, breathing, moving your body. I encourage you to get out of your head, because of course we're going to have thoughts. It's just normal, right? Like, we're human. So it's not logical to say that when you're doing yoga, you shouldn't be thinking about anything. No, it's not like that. just gives you the opportunity to kind of get out of your head. And we pride ourselves on that too, because I feel like everybody has this stigma about yoga of I have to be fit, I have to be coordinated, I have to be flexible, I have to be all these things. And I like to say, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So I feel like there's a place for everything. There's a place, there's that athletic type of yoga, and then there's that more meditative type, slow flow, getting out of your head and into your body type of yoga. So I just feel like it just depends on what you're into. So some people like to say, well, I have ADHD, Darien, I can't quiet my mind. Girl, same. So, it's a challenge for me too, but just show up, like just try. You never know what can happen until you try. So for me, I notice when I don't meditate or do yoga in a day, I'm kind of bitchy by the end of the day. You know what I mean? I can tell I'm a little bit shorter with my daughter. And I feel like now that I have a lot more self-awareness than I used to. And that's one thing that yoga has helped, is that self-awareness of going like, what is my deal? Like, what's going on? Oh, I haven't meditated today, or I haven't practiced today. I can feel it building in me. So again, even if it's not yoga, find the thing that makes you feel good and do that. Spend a few minutes doing that and just notice how you feel with your family for the rest of the day. The other thing it's really taught me is that mindfulness piece is it's good for everybody. It's not just good for you, because if you're able to practice mindfulness when somebody's speaking to you instead of just waiting to speak and engage in what they're saying, that shows like you're really interested and you care about this conversation, right? It's a way of showing love. So there's so many different mindfulness can help. Making sure that you're being mindful of people listening to you, you listening to them, having that um, just helps you slow down and, like I said, and see what's important.
Yeah, and through this, by I think just tying together the pieces of how we were raised, the how we were conditioned to believe. One of the things was taking time for ourselves is selfish, right? And I think that I don't know, like percentage wise, but probably a majority of mothers feel this way because it's been passed on and reinforced in society. When in actuality, if you start paying attention to how you feel, how you show up when you take time to yourself to slow down, to process things, how differently you show up for your kids, for your spouse or partner, how you show up as a friend, as a sister, as an employee, as an owner, as a leader, right? Just start paying attention to these things. And when we work with clients, we really like to put on like the experimental hat of like, just pay attention to how this is making you feel and like try it out. Nobody is saying like you have to do it this way or it has to be this way. It's not black and white. It's finding what works for you, what feels good for you, and doing that little step at a time, right? Because saying like, I'm going to do yoga and meditate every day when you're not doing it now, that's a big leap, right? Like, let's just start small and paying attention to how some breathing feels. Okay, you want to go a little deeper? Is that great? Let's add some stretching while we're breathing, right?
Yes, absolutely. And it's like, and just paying attention to how you're breathing, like where you feel it. Do you feel it in your chest? Try to feel it in your belly, right? So really fill up the belly, the ribs, the chest on your inhale, fully emptying out, letting all of the air out of your belly. Like, again, it's not woo. Like, scientifically, if you're holding on to too much CO2 because you're not fully exhaling, that's not good for your body. So, and when you do, so here's the other thing I like to say is, when you slow down, you can speed up. For example, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when I'm able to quiet my mind for a little while, I come out of it with so many ideas, business ideas. Anytime I do a sound bath, I don't know if anybody who's listening, watching has done a sound bath, but it has some crazy effects. For me, I come out having like all of these crazy business ideas where I'm like, I need to write this down right now. So slowing down can help you speed up. And the other thing is like we wear busy like a badge of honor. When you see somebody you haven't seen in a long time and you say, "How have you been?" What is the first thing they say? They either say good or busy. I've been busy. I've been busy. I've been busy. And it's just like, I mean, especially when in my corporate career, like if I, I had a lot of men that reported to me. So it's not only with women, it's men. And if I was telling them that I was taking some time for myself, like they would look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what? Like, we have so much work to do. And I'm like, dude, this is not the end all be all of my life. Like, I still want to slow down and take time for me and take time for my family and take breaks and do all those things. It's not a badge of honor. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when your body fights back and says, no, we're not doing that anymore. Whether you blow out your adrenals, um, there's so many different things that can happen to your body because of stress. So it's like, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when your body's going to make you slow down.
I
So
think, sorry, that's a
be
product
just
of what we were, our generation, like our parents' generation, because that was handed down to me, the idea that you can't have fun or do anything relaxing until the work's done. Like you can't. That's just not how it works. You have to get your responsibilities done before you can do any of that. So that was like ingrained in me. Like anything that I wanted to do that would make me feel good was not allowed because I had responsibilities to do first. And then that just vicious cycle just kept happening. And if you look at that generation and how illnesses have increased and cancer and heart attacks and all of these other things, if you could see that progression to where we are now, like obviously, like I could see it now. I wasn't seeing it before, but now I can see that correlation with that. You're not supposed to live like that. If we were supposed to live like that, we wouldn't be getting so much sicker every day, and it's getting worse.
It's so true. You've like nailed it. And I just feel like when we're in it as moms, when we have littles, when we're working, when we're making dinner, we're taking them to soccer, like, we think we're doing all of the right things. And I'm not saying that you're not. I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong or it's bad because yes, we love our children. We want to take care of our children. We want to be those amazing moms. And I feel like that's another reason why like our parenting game has really leveled up because we are looking back at our childhoods and we're like, oh, we never got to do that. Or so we want to make sure our kids go to Disneyland every year and but really what they really want is your time. That's really what they want. They want you to get down on the floor and play with them. Slow down and do those things instead of being like, here's the iPad, bye. And not that we're not all guilty of it. I do it too. I just told you I let my daughter watch YouTube on Sundays, and that's okay. But like showing them that it's okay to slow down, showing them that you don't need to be on your phone or on the computer or that you could sit and watch whatever show that they're watching, even though it's going to drive you crazy. Just doing that. That's really what they want is our time.
I noticed that change too. Did you know? Because when I was drinking it, even before that, I was so caught up in having to be the right parent, being a good parent, and what it meant. Like all these things, like making sure they were fed and they went to school, and you read to them at night, and all the rules that I had to follow to be a good parent. And when I think back of it now, like, yeah, my parents gave me all those fundamentals too, but I was missing what you're just talking about, that time, like that special like time. My dad has no, I love my dad. He did the best he could. He doesn't really know me though, because that was his generation too, like just busy, 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 busy. And we never really got that connect. We have a great relationship, but he doesn't know me the way I want to know my kids. I'm not trying to turn them into mini me's. I want to actually know who they are and who they are becoming. And that little tiny act of just listening to them when they talk to you, it's such a little thing that you can do, but it means so much to them that even if you don't see it, like they're still, if they're, especially if they're teenagers, they're still going to be jerks. Like we were all jerks when we were teenagers. Like that's just part of being a teenager. And I say that in a light way. I don't mean that, but they're going through a lot right now. But that's why listening to them talk about whatever it is they want to talk about for just a few minutes makes them feel seen and heard. And now you're gonna see things that you wouldn't have seen other, like I was missing stuff that because I wasn't talking to my kids. There was stuff going on with them that I now see, and I'm trying not to feel guilty about, because I didn't see it, and now I'm like, oh my God, they need, you know, therapy or whatever it is. Like they're dealing with anxiety right now. So that's one of the things I noticed, like that I passed down unknowingly to my kids, partly by, just them watching me always being so wound up. And I'm sure there's all kinds of explanations to it. But if I don't talk to them and notice that stuff, then I can't help them, or they're going to just end up just the same way I did, or with different problems, but they're going to be miserable too. Like that's not what I want. We all as parents want to be better than our parents did, right?
Yes, but like I said, and you're doing great. Like you're doing so good. And we all have maybe some guilt of things that we might have done before we quit drinking, right? But the fact that we figured it out and we're here now, like we're doing really good. But really that's all our kids want. And maybe that's what we were missing growing up, is that attention from our parents. It's like in their minds, as long as they're going to work and showing up and making sure we're fed, we're good. I'm not realizing that, really all we wanted was time with them. So, that's another way to practice mindfulness, is just sitting down with your kids. And even though you have so many things to do, just spending 5 minutes, just like sitting and being with them, listening, or like I said, my daughter likes to play dolls. And I'm telling you, it's like the bane of my existence. I hate playing dolls, but I do it for her. You know what I mean? Because she loves it, and it means a lot to her. If she's asking me to play dolls instead of taking her shopping, because I swear she's 9 going on 29, instead of taking her shopping or planning a trip to Japan, or this is just like how her brain works, right? So if it's just sit down and play with dolls, cool, like I'm in.
And I think that in itself is really important, because part of my homework was that I was given was like turning off everything and going and playing, because it sends a signal to us that like it's okay to play. It's safe to play. Like, right when we talk about that stress response and the cortisol of when you watch animals in the wild, and they're being chased, and then the threat is over, then they like shake it off and go about their lives, right? But we're jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing, and we're not giving ourselves a chance to shake it off and move on. And so inserting play into it is a way of saying like, hey, there's no danger around right now. Things are cool. You you can mellow out, right?
Yeah, you can go enjoy yourself. And again, like we forget, like what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for me? Like I said, I don't love playing with dolls. I do it for my daughter. But the other things that bring me joy and fill my cup is spending time with other women, either new friendships or existing friendships, going to have a cup of coffee, talking on the phone, obviously yoga, meditation, and all those things. But there's so many other things that I realized, you know what, this is actually pretty fun, and I really love this. And when I was drinking, I was the one who always threw the parties, planned the happy hours, and all those things. And now I'm able to do this. Now I'm able to do all of that because I missed that, especially with 2020. Like we weren't doing any of that. So now that I have this opportunity of bringing people together in a way that's healthy, um, like that's what fills my cup. Like it makes me feel really good. So it's like, find those things, find the things that make you feel fun and silly. And we're actually in Club Shine right now. We're in the creativity, fun, and joy module. So like tonight I'm gonna have them make, like those fortune teller things, like the little paper fortune tellers. So we're gonna do that, but with like things that fill your cup. So like 15 minutes of sitting outside, 20 minutes of reading your favorite book, a home facial, or just like different, whatever is, these are going to be on my list. That's what's going to be in my little thing. But this is going to be something that they can use daily. So it's fun, right? Like it's a fun, cute, like little thing. Let's do this. And then like it gives you something that you can do. So I'm going to encourage them to draw on it, make it pretty, whatever they want to do. And then it shows them, it reminds you, A, you can have fun, and B, you get to do something that brings you joy and creativity every day.
You find that people that you work with, because I found this, especially in the beginning, that they can't enjoy anything when their mind is where they think they need to be. Like, I have all these things to do. I have this list and I'm not doing it. Like, I should be wherever else right now. Like, then they're not in the moment. They're not even able to enjoy it. So they're telling themselves they hate whatever it is they're doing. They're not getting joy out of it because their mind is not even there. So that
Yes.
was something that I see and that I experienced. Like, of course I didn't have, because I wasn't letting myself have any fun.
Well, I mean, so the way that our club is run, to answer your question, yes. So the way that our club is run, it's a group, right? So I find that some people just won't show up. So it's funny that you're mentioning this, because in our values, and like I have them sign off on something in the beginning that says you're gonna when you're showing up fully. So at the beginning of every meeting, we center. So I have you close your eyes, and we do a couple breaths, and we come into the space. So you're here. Like, you're here now. You're letting that go. You're done with that for now. It's going to be there waiting for you when this hour is up. So for now, we're going to be here for each other. So like engaging, listening to each other instead of waiting to speak. Like, you're going to be here now. And I make sure that we mention it at the beginning of every call, like, because I get it. And you're going to want to run away, right? You're going to want to let all those old habits come back of, nope, I got to go make dinner, or I got to go finish this email or take this call, or nope, this is 1 hour a week for yourself. Take it.
It's so uncomfortable at first. Like, I know I'm still working through that discomfort. So I know how we can talk ourselves out of it, because if we're doing something that's supposed to make us feel good, but it feels so uncomfortable. Like, what?
It's
But
true.
you have to do it. You have to get through that initial discomfort of it, and then you really do start to feel the joy, and you want to do it more. And so it's almost like when you notice that discomfort, or you're crawling out of your skin to go do something else, that's exactly the thing you need to pay attention to, because that's how
Yes.
you know.
Yes. And I always say that, like, the second you want to run away is the time that you need to jump all in. It's like, you're 100% right. You nailed it on the head. And like, we definitely encourage that. So with the club, not only do you get the weekly group coaching call, you have full access to the studio. So you get to come to all the classes, like everything free. You get discounts on all of our events that aren't like sponsored by the Zen Den. Like, there's so many like cool opportunities for you to reach in. You just have to pick one, right?
That's so awesome. I love that you have turned this into a place for women to come together, because this is really what our big mission is to bring women together, to help raise each other up, to let go of the judgment and shame of it, and to just like allow moms to be moms and help support them through it, because it's not easy. This isn't easy stuff we're doing. And it's not, like you say, it's not easy to go and try something new. It's easy to stay in our old way, no matter how much pain it's causing us, because it's known. And that's what we've done for so long. So it's not easy to do these things. And but it is so much easier when you have a community, when you have support that you can turn to, people who are going to stand by you and tell you you're not crazy, and for experiencing that, because it's just human and we all experience it, and having somebody to guide you through it. And so for those people who are interested, who have always thought that yoga, you need to be able to stand on your head, or, on one arm, or whatever crazy pose, you put together a free gift for the audience of, hey, let's just ease into this. Like, even just at your desk during the day while you're working, like, here's some cool tools. So could you tell us a little bit more about what you're offering for them?
Yes, absolutely. So I created 3 really short YouTube videos. So One is just like stretching at your desk, right? So again, if you're not into the woo, because we talk to a lot of people, they're like, yeah, that's just not my thing. Cool. Moving your body is really important. Breathing is really important. So use it as an opportunity. And in the free gift, you'll hear me speaking, and I'm never talking about anything woo. I'm talking about probably how good it feels when you just put your ear over to your shoulder and breathe into the side of your neck. Like, there's so many different opportunities. So there's a meditation, it's like a midday meditation where you can just close your eyes and listen to it and breathe for a few minutes. There's a stretch where it just shows you a lot of different stretches and ways to move your body sitting in your desk chair, right? So since COVID, we have been in front of Zoom, Teams, all of the things for so long. So this is an opportunity. Maybe you just turn off your camera for a couple minutes and just move around a little. And then there's an actual yoga session, but it's very similar to the stretching session. So just gives you different opportunities to move your body at your desk, at your own pace on your time. So making sure that you're taking those opportunities, even if you work in an office, do it anyway. Show your coworkers that they can do it too. Maybe they watch it with you and you guys meditate and stretch together. And that's another thing that can actually bring you closer to your coworkers, is having that in common, sharing that together. And that's why I think it's so important that we take these gifts and all these modalities into corporate America, is just showing ourselves, showing each other that, that busyness is not a badge of honor, and it's okay to slow down and take a couple minutes for yourself. Yes, you might have a deadline. Yes, you have to get that order entered. You have to get that quote out. You have to answer that phone call. If you're not selling pacemakers, I think you're okay. Right. So, it's again, it's taking that couple of minutes, and it kind of makes you go, hey, yes, it's important. Yes, I'm going to get it done. And now my brain is a little bit clearer so that I can move on to that next thing. But it also helps you, opens your mind up to, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. So I'm happy to share those with you. And I hope that anybody who's watching can take advantage of those, because like I said, even just those three are going to make a difference in your day.
And don't let your brain fool you into thinking that you don't have time, or it's too weird, or it's not going to work, or if you're feeling that resistance, that's exactly why you got to do it anyway. Just move through it, because it's like going to the gym. Like, nope, I don't know very many people that want to go to the gym and do the leg day, except they want the results, So it's once you get there, you're glad that you went. So yeah, maybe it's uncomfortable, but that's exactly why you need to do it. And
Yeah.
it's getting through that discomfort initially that will be the reward.
Well, and that's why I made just 3 really short videos. Was to say, okay, let's tiptoe into this with just 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and see how you feel. If I'm going to be honest with you, there's times where people, when I get them, if I'm in a big room of people, right, and I'm doing a presentation, I'm like, okay, close your eyes. And they've never meditated before. I walk them through a breathing exercise. I bring them out of it, and they don't even know that they've meditated. So a lot of times I'll say, okay, write down the first word that comes to your mind. Sometimes they feel stress. Sometimes they write down stress or irritation. And that's because they're not fully engaging. Their mind is going to that next thing that they need to do. So it takes practice, right? Like, you're not going to show up day one and be like, I did this 5-minute meditation and my life has changed. Maybe it will, but I highly doubt it. But maybe if you just try, you just do the breathing for 5 minutes. If you just move your body for 5 minutes, intentionally moving with your breath, the more that you do it, the better you'll feel, the less resistance you'll feel. I promise. Promise.
If it feels like it's not working, that doesn't mean it's not working. It's just that time that you need to give it. And exactly. The idea of what you're check your expectations. Like, are you expecting to just, it's not like a drink, where the poison, the alcohol, that there's a reason why that works for the 15 minutes, and then the result, the consequences last like twice as long, 3 times as long. But this is something that will take 5 minutes, but the benefits will last you
a lifetime.
Yeah.
Literally a lifetime, especially if you make it part of your regular routine. I mean, there's no way that it's not going to, I promise. Like, I can guarantee that.
Yep. And if it's hard at first, that's okay.
Yeah. Yes, just lean into that discomfort. Just like when we quit drinking, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much. This has been such a empowering talk and really opening. I hope some people have some new perspectives of how they can experience this. And we'll include a link for the free gift as well as your link for the Zen Den and people who are interested in Club Shine. So thank you so much, Darien, for your time.
Yes, thank you both. I appreciate you.